What's up guys, welcome to a new video. Today we are going to find out which out of the top 3 most popular racing games is the most realistic to drag race in. So in recent times, drag racing has rose in popularity more and more, and there's a ton of more people getting into it every day. If you see on TikTok or Instagram Reels, see a lot of more people are getting drag racing. But it takes a huge amount of money and resources to actually get into drag racing. And there's a lot of people like myself that aspire to drag race in real life. And that's why a lot of people switch to virtual, so drag racing in games. And people want a experience in a game that brings them as close as they can to what it feels like in real life. And they are dedicated at drag racing games such as NHRA Championship, Street Outlaws, and Bounty Drag Racing, but they are by far less popular than the most popular racing games. And they are realistic, but often more people want to do more than just drag racing. So people turn to the most popular racing games such as Forza Horizon 5, BeamNG, and Assetto Corsa, where you can do endless styles of racing or anything really. So today we are going to find out which one of these most popular racing games is the most realistic to drag race in. Okay, so to find out which of the 3 games are the most realistic to drag race in, I made a list of real life drag racing functions that we're gonna judge each game off of. So first we're gonna see what kind of drag tires that they have. At the bare minimum, do you have a drag tire? Do they have different compounds like a slick, radial, or big tire? Do they have skinnies in the front? So basically anything with drag tires. Boost control. Can control boost in any type of way. Can you do boost ramps, boost by gear? Do you have a scramble? If you have a supercharger, can you change pulley sizes? Or can you have nitrous? Next we have transmission control / launch control. Does the game have any type of launch control, train brake, bump box? Can you lock up the converter? Does it have even a converter control? Do you have any slipper clutches, or can you adjust a clutch at all? Then we have suspension. Can you adjust suspension in any type of way? Does it give you any type of suspension adjustments? Or does it have like real racing suspension components such as sway bars, 4-link, stuff like that? Then we have drag parts. Does it have any drag wings, wheelie bars? Can you add weight to the front or rear? So just any drag racing parts in general. Then we have drag racing elements. Go based on it, you have custom maps. Can you do no prep? Does it have like a drag tree, stuff like that? Or like in the drag racing UI where you can see stats and stuff like that. So those are the functions and components we're going to base the games off of without getting too in depth, so you can see which one of these games are most realistic drag racing. So the first game we're going to test is Forza Horizon 5. I spent the most time in this game by far, like 53 days or something like that. It's like a crazy amount, because all I do is make drag racing tunes, if y'all don't know, if you see from my channel. So I know this game pretty well. Forza is the most accessible out of the 3 games because it's literally on every system except Switch. So if you don't know, Forza is an open world racing game, so they focus on really every aspect or every racing style in the game. So which in turn, in the drag racing department, it's pretty simplified, but they do have some drag racing elements. Okay, so first, drag tires. Forza does have drag tires, but really all about it. You have a drag racing compound, you can't adjust if it's a slick or radial or anything, it's just drag racing tire, and the really only thing you can do and adjust the tire pressure, but that's really it. That's all you can do. So you can upgrade the engine, you can add a turbo or supercharger, but you can't adjust any boost levels or ramp ins. I guess you can actually kind of do that. You just have to remove any upgrades to this turbo or supercharger. So if you have a race supercharger, it gives you, the max amount of horsepower boost, whatever preset it gives you, and then you can back it down to sport or whatever, how many levels that the turbo supercharger has. Which, if you can't adjust a boost control or anything like that, you're not going to have any lag, any scramble. You can't do any boost by gear. So completely no controlling of the boost. And nitrous, okay, so Forza doesn't have nitrous per se, but in custom maps, you can add a torque multiplier that you can have take place of your rewind button, and it basically just gives you power like nitrous, but it just multiplies your power by a certain percentage that you put. For transmission control, there's next to no transmission control. You can upgrade the transmission, and you even change transmission. There's 10 speed, 4 speed, and just any in between. You can upgrade the clutch to make it shift faster, stuff like that, and you can adjust the gears. That's about it. With automatic cars, there's no torque converter logic at all, doesn't exist, and every car is based off of manual. And what I mean by that is chargers don't come in manual. As you can see, it is a automatic, and if you go into telemetry, you see clutch on the bottom left and it's 100%, and then when I take off, it's like slipping the clutch like a manual. So see, and there's no slipper clutches or anything like that. Just you get what you get. But Forza does have launch control. It actually has two different launch controls. So you have what is called the quote unquote advanced launch control, where you have to be in manual clutch. So with advanced launch control, you can adjust what RPM you want to be at. So let's say I can go to 3000 RPM, I go all the way up to 4000, or just straight up to 2000. And recently Forza does have their own launch control. Their launch control calculates what surface you're on and takes in all the aspects of what tire you have, and it tries to give you the highest RPM that it can. And for the first like 10 feet that has traction control, then it lets off. So yeah, for suspension, there's some modification that you can do, but none drag specific per se. I mean, you have race dampers, race springs, you have race anti-roll bar, stuff like that. So really, one thing you can do for drag racing suspension is throw on rally suspension and just tune the suspension. That's really all you can do. And there's no drag parts in the game other than liveries, where people have parachutes as a livery and stuff like that. I mean, the closest thing you can do is a hood, but I mean, I guess you can count that if you want to. Drag racing elements. So there's 3 drag strips in a game. They don't have any drag racing trees, so you go based off chassis or whatever you want to do, or honks. There's a decent amount of custom maps that are like actual replicas of real life maps, and there's some real time data you can see from telemetry, but nothing like a data log or whatnot that's going to help you after the fact in real time. So based on the list of drag racing functions, Forza Horizon 5 has, definitely enough elements of drag racing to satisfy and make, semi-realistic, but nowhere near to, that like realistic feeling. But now we move to the next game where it steps it up a little bit. Okay, now we move on to Assetto Corsa. Assetto Corsa is mainly a gyration simulator. That's his claim to fame. And then drifting and no hezzy got super popular. Then a gyration community banded together. Then people started making drag cars, developing drag racing elements. And Assetto Corsa sits in a weird spot. It's more realistic than Forza, but not by much. And you're all gonna see why. For drag tires, there are drag tires that you can use in the game, but they are mods, and basically everything I'm about to show you are only available with mods. So yeah, that's why it's in a weird spot, because the base Assetto Corsa has no type of drag racing elements, only one base map that they call a quote unquote drag strip. It's really just a highway with barriers. So anyway, let's get back to the tire aspect. So you can only get drag racing tires from a car mod that comes with it already. So you can't change any compounds. You can only change the tire pressure. That's it. So as you can see, I'm pressing a button. There's no tire compound changes, and the only thing you can do is just tire pressure. That's it. With the base game, you can control how much boost you have, but it's not by PSI, it's by a percentage from 0 to 100%, and it's by 10% increments. You can only do that with turbos, no superchargers. You can probably do that on some other cars, but it depends on the mod and the builder. So as you can see, I can go from 0 to all the way to 100. And with that, you kind of do boost ramps and scrambles, but like you have to do that manually. There's no other mod that I know that it does it itself. And you do have rolling anti-lag, so you can kind of do boost ramps, and you can have a scramble, but it's all manual, so you have to just spam the turbo up button so to make like a makeshift fake boost ramp or scramble. And I'll show you an example. So I got no turbo here. If I'm on boost ramp, I'm just mashing the turbo. And you do the same thing for that with a scramble, whatnot, a makeshift scramble. And certain cars, it depends on the builder of the car. You do have rolling anti-lag, so I'll show you that. Get up to 50 miles an hour, and you can hold it right here, and just let it go, And lastly, nitrous. None of the mods and cars that I have has nitrous. They probably have some implemented, but I haven't seen them personally. The only way that I know they can get nitrous, so there's a mod that literally dang near is like a real ECU. It has so many freaking elements. You control every function, boost control, ramp ins, timing, everything. But it's really expensive, and at that point, you might as well just get a freaking car and do the real thing. So like Forza, there's no transmission control. The only thing you can do is adjust the gearing, and with this car you can only adjust the final gear ratio, so that's really all you can do. There's no slipper clutch, there's none of that. And like Forza, all the cars are based off of manual, so the same thing in Forza, just like no automatic anything, and no converter logic at all. And with certain cars and stuff, there is two-step. It just depends on the car and the builder. So you can see here, I'm just clutch in flat, I'm on two-step, and then see, you have to slip it yourself, so we're gonna slip it here. So it's all you. but it's kind of fun that way because like you have to learn how to slip it properly and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. You can do that in Forza, but it's so much better in here. And for suspension, it's pretty simple, but it's a bit more complex than Forza. There's a few more adjustments that you can do in here that you can't do in Forza, and the actual measurements of the suspension elements are like actually like more realistic. So then you can do camber, toe, dampeners. This is a little more simple than Forza. Forza is a little more complex in that manner as the number system. But in real life, you actually like that you have like certain clicks on dampers, rebound. So depends on, you know, your preference. You can adjust diff power, preload, stuff like that. And what's a little different, you can actually adjust the individual height to each corner. So that's a little more complex and you can really dial that in if you feel like you need to be. And Assetto doesn't have any drag parts or any upgrade system in general. So you get what you get on any car mod that you get. The only thing I know that you can do is swap engine sounds, and that's just swapping files. So Assetto does have a decent amount of drag racing elements. There's a good amount of custom drag maps and stuff like that. There are actual replicas of maps. Like for example, this is Maryland International Raceway. There's a decent amount of UI stuff. Like for example, you see on the left side on the screen, you see my drag times UI, and there's other ones that you can see like suspension and stuff like that, but it's really nerdy. And to my knowledge, there's no like real like a data logger where you can see all the stats and all everything what's going on with the car and like adjust it afterwards to improve your car and become faster. And let me know in the comments down below if there's more UI apps that I'm missing, because there probably new stuff that I don't even know about. But once again, that rural ECU mod is probably where you can get the most, and that's pretty expensive. So Assetto Corsa crosses more off the list and gets you a little bit more closer than Forza to a more realistic drag racing experience, which that brings us into our last game, BeamNG. I think personally this is the most realistic drag racing game outside of an actual dedicated drag racing game. So if you don't know, BeamNG is a sim and they're most known for their super realistic crash physics, and out of Forza and Assetto Corsa, it has by far the most realistic customization, tuning, even with the base game. And then when you add mods to the equation, it simply is in its own league by its own. So warning, this is kind of going to sound like a BeamNG glaze fest, but I promise you it's just how good the game is and how realistic the game actually is. There's so much stuff I can get into, so I'm gonna keep it as simplified as I can with trying to explain, you know, all the stuff that it actually has. So with BeamNG, there's no shortage of drag tire options. With a tire mod, you can have big tires, small tires, slick, radial. You can have front skinnies, stiffer sidewall tires, and every tire size you can think of. And as you can see, I have one of the tire mods that I have, and I have all the drop down menus, and I'm gonna scroll so y'all can see all of this. And you're talking about any size tire construction, you know, radial, any type of drag radial. You can put bead locks. You have actual tire riding. Basically, anything you can think of a tire you can do in real life, you can do it in BeamNG. With the boost control, you can control boost in pretty much any way possible. You can do boost by gear, boost by speed, any lag, scramble. As you can see here, I got boost by gear. I got, you know, 25, 40, 53. Like I said, you can literally do boost by speed. So like you can get the car as dialed in as you can. And with certain superchargers, you can adjust pulley sizes and stuff like that. And it has all type of superchargers, centrifugal, root style, funny car blowers and stuff like that. And it has the most realistic nitrous control like I've ever seen. It can do ramp ends, multi-stage nitrous. Like you can see here, I have a multi-stage nitrous system up to like the 6 stages depending on the mod, bottle sizes. And if you want to put a 5,000 shot of nitrous on your motor, you can do it. Basically, once again, any boost nitrous control you can think of, you can do with mods. BeamNG has the best transmission control out of any game because it actually has converter logic. So you can actually adjust what stall you have. As you see here, you can actually have a lockup. So really advanced things where you can adjust how you converter slipping and what lockup to make you as fast as possible. There's so many transmission options. You can add different converters, low stall, high stall, a custom converter, trans brake, a manual or an automatic valve body. And I have way more transmissions, but for the power glide or just basically any transmission there is, it's probably in the game in the mod. And as I'm about to show you, you actually have a real trans brake and bump box. So we're activate our trans brake. You see here? Then we activate our bump box. We're bumping in. And then let it rip. Boom. And with certain cars and mods, you can actually have a slipper clutch. So again, it sounds like I'm glazing, but basically any transmission control you can do in BeamNG. And the trend keeps on going with suspension. With certain mods, you can actually have a adjustable forelink. Like this car right here, you can adjust all these forelink parameters, no separation, bar angle, and stuff like that. It's pretty insane how realistic you can get with the suspension. And you have sway bars and stuff like that. And all these suspension controls, you can adjust and make the car act like exactly how you want to. With the base game, you already have a good amount of drag parts. And with mods, you basically have an infinite list of parts you can add, from drag wings, wheelie bars, parachutes, front and rear weights, shifters, and some cars you can add Lexan windows and any type of wheel. Basically, any upgrade you can remove, change, and adjust it has. Like for example, this car has cement bags as rear ballast. And then some of them have a adjustable front ballast plate and wheelie bars, adjustable wheelie bar. And as you can see here, you can see all this list, basically anything you can think of. There's a lot of drag racing elements in the game, as there's a ton of custom maps of replica real life tracks, no prep, and there's a ton of UI apps that can see real-time data on your car. There's actually a real data logger that can actually see and review your data after the run. And you can adjust it just like you would in real life. Now, showcase some of these for you. Shout out to SGR. I found some of these UI elements on TikTok and I wanted to buy them, so I was just Patreon subscribed. And you see here, you have drag racing timers and stuff like that, and any gauges, you know, different analog gauges. And these drag style ones are pretty freaking sick. That's why I had to get these. Quarter mile, half mile, eighth mile, a 6130 timer, stuff like that. And then this data logger. I'm just gonna show y'all this because this is extremely cool. So I'm gonna make it big so you can see it. RPM, wheel speed, airspeed, TPS, PSI, gear, G-force. So as you see here, we're gonna do real one. So we do wheelie and all this stuff, but still, this is all real life data right now. Make a run. Then we can stop, and then you can single out any data point. You can see, for example, if the RPM shoots up, I'm slipping, so like that. So then we can see how much boost we have. We can see the wheel speed compared to airspeed, so we can see how much we're wheel spinning. As you can see, airspeed is how fast you're going, and see we're spinning right here. So just stuff like that has basically any UI stuff you can imagine. So you can see how far leaps and bounds BeamNG is than Forza and Assetto Corsa in terms in realistic and drag racing. And when I'm sitting here playing BeamNG, I really feel like I'm like in a drag car, especially if you do interior view, you turn graphics all the way up, turn all the stuff off your screen. Really, you're really immersed. And for no prep stuff, you can really like dial it in, and there's just so much customization close to real life that you can do. So that don't obviously answer the question. They don't know what. If you want the most realistic drag racing experience out of the most popular drag racing games, you play BeamNG. Appreciate you for watching. Let me know what you think of this video, and if there's anything I missed, please let me know. I missed some stuff, but I feel like I got a good general overview of every game and how realistic they are without going into the extreme nerdy science of everything. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.